Hey, friends, welcome to episode 170 of Meeple to Meeple. Today is a great day. My guest is a familiar face in the tabletop world. He's known for his engaging streams, thoughtful commentary, and deep love of the hobby. Prolific and profound. He's been involved with popular tabletop media brands like Good Time Society, Rahdo Runs Through, and Play to Z Games. He's done it all, spotlighting new releases to championing community voices. He brings both insight and enthusiasm to everything he does. He's also helped build initiatives like the Tabletop Live Network, promoting diverse and inclusive board gaming spaces. We're going to be diving into his journey into board gaming, the evolving creator space, and of course, what's been hitting his table lately. So be sure to stick around and find out who's going to win the 2026 Gaviola Cup. I'm joined today by Ruel Gaviola. Ruel, how are you?
Good, PJ. Thanks again for having me here. That was like the best introduction, man. That was amazing. Like I'm like, wow, how am I going to live up to this guy? I'm like,
Well,
this
thank
is
you.
amazing. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you. Yeah,
Appreciate that.
absolutely. I
Yeah.
keep hearing that usually when my guests are on, they're like, the intros is like they pull stuff from my website and I'm like, and I do, but I'm like, yeah,
Yeah. The
I
fact
don't
that
do, I don't do many things well, but I do this.
no, you do. That was amazing. And the fact that you brought up the Gaviola Cup, I'm like, okay, this guy, yeah, he's done his homework, and I appreciate that. We uh, we have it right now. I'm trying to see whose name I was at. The last name on it is Michelle, my wife. I forgot what game she beat me up, but she currently has the cup in her possession. So
I think according to the interwebs, the last announcement of the Gaviola Cup was 2023. I don't think you've posted in a while.
yeah, I haven't really posted much. It's something that we do here at home, and we just
Yeah.
shared it on our live streams back in the day. But we still have it at home whenever someone's playing a game here at home, whether it's just me and my wife Michelle or whoever. Whoever wins gets their name on the cup, and it's we got a little Sharpie there, and it's a fun little tradition that we stole from. I forgot who we stole it from. We saw someone do it on like Facebook or something, and I'm like, I went to Target that night, picked up one of those trophies, got a mark, a Sharpie, or I mean, a erasable marker, and yeah, off we went.
That's awesome. We might steal that too.
But yeah,
Right now,
please.
my wife keeps an Excel spreadsheet.
Wow. Nice. That's hardcore. I love that.
So it's dual purpose, to be fair. We keep this spreadsheet, so it is and my regular audience members are so familiar with what I'm about to say, is we are committed to playing every single game in our collection a minimum of once every calendar year. We are at 58.1% of our collection as of right now. So,
Wow. That's
yeah.
that's
But then she also keeps track of the head to head, and I think she's in the lead.
nothing like a little rivalry in the house. I love that.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So let me ask you. This is kind of the question I usually start these off with. What was the first board game you ever played as a kid?
As a kid, the two earliest memories I have, and actually one of them is a pseudo memory. Like I sort of remember, but my mom reminds me that she taught me and my younger brothers how to play blackjack because it
Okay.
was
All right.
her way of teaching us math. So she would play the cards out. So, what does this add up to? I do remember doing the addition, but I don't really remember the blackjack part, which is funny. So, a very young age, I learned that aces are 1 or 11. Thanks, mom. But then after that, I think the game that I remember the most. I don't think we had Monopoly early on, but we did have this game called "This Game Is Bonkers," and we just called it Bonkers. Y'all can look it up on BGG. It's an older game from the '70s, and it was just a dice chucking game, and you just move around the board. That's pretty much all I remember. The memory I have of that game, though, PJ, is someone, I don't know, it's either me or one of my brothers, when we're playing, we were snacking and then we put the game away. And then like a week or two later, we came back. It's like, oh, someone left a banana in the game. And that banana may have turned colors and may have smelled differently when we opened it up 2 weeks later. But
Yum.
yeah, so to this day, my brothers and I, we still have a laugh over that. We call the game Banana Bonkers.
Banana bonkers.
Yeah. I wanted to track it down, like through eBay or something, but I was always afraid that we would find our copy with the banana in it, and I don't want to revisit that trauma.
No, no, there's enough trauma sharing already.
Right.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so that was my introduction to board games, and then we did
Okay.
eventually get a copy of Monopoly. We actually played a lot of Yahtzee. And to this day, I still love Yahtzee. The OG roll and write. I have many different copies of it. I have Spam Yahtzee. I have Sriracha Yahtzee. I have the D&D Yahtzee. I love all the versions. So give me them all. It's still one of my favorite roll and writes.
We've got a friend of ours here in a local area who is famous for his hatred of Yahtzee. So we found at an antique store like an old 60s Yahtzee, and we put it in a glass jar, kind of like a display. And so now it sits on his game shelf in his game room. He's like, okay, I'll allow it.
Yeah. Almost like museum quality, right? I
Yes,
love that. That's
yes.
great.
So let me ask you this. What was the first board game that got you into the modern gaming hobby?
Yeah, so back in the days of 2015, actually, I should back up to late 2014. Michelle and we just randomly found on YouTube, we're just hanging out, watching YouTube videos, as you do before you go to bed. We found a show called Tabletop with Will Wheaton. And I was like,
Wow, yes.
oh, that's Will from TNG, and Michelle had never
Yeah.
watched it. Yeah, she didn't watch any Star Trek or anything. I was like,
Oh,
what about, she's like, Stand By Me. I was like, oh yeah, that's him. We got hooked. We watched, I mean, it was a great show. I still enjoy the episodes to this day, but that inspired me to go out in January of 2015, a couple of months later, for my birthday. I decided to give myself a present. I bought myself Pandemic. Michelle and we talked before, like, what should we play? Or what do we want to get from those shows? Like Pandemic looks like the one. She loved the theme. I love the theme. PJ, it blew me away that you could play a board game cooperatively.
right.
That was so new to me, right? And I think to a lot of people. And it turned out Michelle ended up like she didn't really like the gameplay as much. So this is also not only my birth as a modern board gamer, but my birth as a solo gamer. I was like, oh, I can
Okay.
play Pandemic by myself. Cool. So I did that for like a month straight. And I was like, I love board games. This is my jam. And we continued watching Tabletop. I was like, okay, why don't we try Ticket to Ride? This looks sort of cool. And we bought that. And that is the one that got me and my wife hooked. We played it constantly. She still has, to this day, the longest winning streak between us in games. Yeah, she won 7 games of Ticket to Ride in a row in 1 week. And I was like, I'm
Wow.
still salty over it. But it was a great bonding moment. And from there, like a lot of us, it's the same journey, right? Board games are so cool. I'm buying every single one I can,
Yeah.
and then
Yep.
you make that curve like, okay, we don't need to buy every single one, and then I started going to a local meetup. I found one at the local comic book store, and I met some friends there, played all these new to me games. I was still blown away by how many were out there and how many different themes and mechanisms. It was so neat to look back at that because I had no idea what was going on. I
Right.
just eyes wide open, like, yeah, give me all the games. Yeah.
All the games.
Yes.
I know that feeling. So for us, Ticket to Ride was huge as well.
Hmm.
So when I met my wife, she was already a gamer. I was already a gamer. So we brought that together and we were buying every Ticket to Ride there was.
Yeah.
Now, all them boxes, it's taller than I am, right? So we had her dad build us this wooden box that holds all the boards, all the pieces. And it's like the old library card catalog drawers, right?
Nice.
So that
Oh,
was really cool. The one game that got me, it's when I learned a very interesting and important thing about my wife, was the Ticket to Ride the card game. I don't know if you've ever played it.
I've never played it.
Yeah. So you play the game. I don't remember because we haven't played it in probably 15 years, and there's a reason for that. My wife has a 100% win ratio. Like, she would win all the time, and that's when I learned that my wife can count.
Cut to the
I
scene
do.
of you going to Vegas, Rain Man style.
Yep. I can't do that, and so I could never win, and because the whole thing is when you finish a route, you can't look at the cards you've collected. You can't go back. She's remembering them all and counting the numbers and the colors and the combinations and just
Nice.
so we still have it, but we'll never play it, and we haven't. Have not played Ticket to Ride a card game. No. Just
So I've never played it. There's no board, obviously, right? It's just a
no.
card game. So are
Yes.
you just trying to complete the routes using the same type of thing with the different trains
So
and
it's
things?
it's it's a little bit different, and the problem is it's been so long that
Uh-huh.
all I remember is constantly losing that I don't really even remember how the game. All I remember is you would collect the colors to complete your routes, and then you would put them in a discard pile face down, and you can't look at them again. So she
Got it.
would remember that I've already played 8 yellows and she's played 4, and there's only 5 remaining. I can't do that math. You just ruined Ticket to Ride for me. Yes.
So
Yep.
we both have history with our partners beating us up on Ticket to Ride or Ticket to Ride, the card
Yes.
game. I love it.
Yes. Absolutely. So you have worn so many hats in this industry. You're a content creator, you're a podcaster, you're a producer. Which one came most naturally to you? All those roles, and which one did you have to grow into?
Love this question. So the one that so before I became, a content creator, I was I was a technical writer for many years. Worked for different industries. Worked for a couple of startups. Worked for a couple of big, um, aerospace companies. So it was natural for me to do writing, just be a writer. My so by the time I'd played a bunch of Ticket to Ride, pandemic, it was September of 2015. Found a website called ISlayTheDragon.com. I believe it's still up there. It's still up, but I don't think no one's running it at the moment. But it was a board game site, tabletop site, and they were looking for a news editor. And I applied. I just sent some clips. Hey, I write. Here's some clips. I'm still new to the board game hobby, but I love it. I'm so passionate about it. And they hired me. And this was all volunteer work. And I love doing it I did that for a couple of years, and that opened the doors for me. So I went from just doing a weekly news column to doing some written articles. Hey, here's some listicles like top 10, whatever games you want to bring for the holidays or whatever. And then I eventually got to reviewing games, and that was new to me, but it still fit my skill set as a writer.
Sure.
I was able to break things down. Technical writing is very dry, very procedural type things. And I was doing like, procedure manuals and stuff like that, instructions. But doing it for board games was a lot more fun. And I really enjoyed that. And my big break, so to speak, was I was doing that for I Slay the Dragon. And I happened to see on a Facebook post or something, a friend of a friend type thing said Geek and Sundry is looking for writers. I was like, oh, I like Geek and Sundry. I sent
Mhm.
my clips and oh man, I forgot the person's name who I sent it to, but eventually Rob Manuel, who was the editor in chief at the time, or one of the managing editors, hired me, Geek and Sundry. I was like, whoa, I'm getting paid to write about board games. This is awesome. And I did that for a year with them until this might have been like 2016, 2017. And there was another editor that came in named Terry, and she was great. I love working with Terry. And she said, "Hey, would you want to go down to LA and appear on Game the Game with Becca Scott?" I'm like mind blown at that point. Yeah, I,
Right?
I
Oh my
love
god.
Becca.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan. And PJ, when they said they would pay me to go play games, I'm like, you had me at hello. Like,
That's
yeah,
the dream.
right? It's
That is the
totally the
dream.
dream. So back in May of 2017, I believe, or 2018, I forget the year, but I went down to LA and went to the Geek and Sundry was owned by the Legendary Studios. So they had a proper studio in the LA area. I went there, met Becca. She was the nicest person in the world. Met some of their crew there and filmed a episode of Game the Game. We played Lords and Ladies, a card game.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's still in print, but we had a fun time, and they kept inviting me back, and I couldn't say no. I'm like, "Of course, you're gonna pay me to play games and feed me? Yes, I'm there anytime you want." Eventually, I became friends with Becca and, the director, episodes over there, Jake Michaels. We became friends, and when the pandemic hit, Jake and Becca launched the Good Time Society, their own, company, production company and YouTube channel. They would bring me out there to it's funny, they started at Becca's house because pandemic, right?
Right.
So it was literally her living room. They would redo, they had a set designer do a set in the middle of her living room. It was great. But yeah, and then to this, when things started opening up after pandemic, they moved into a proper production studio, and I pitched them a show. So Good Time Society, they've been around for years now, and it was 2 years ago where I pitched a show to Jake and Becca. I said, I'd love to see something like Good Morning America, but have it board game based. And they loved the idea. I had shared my ideas, and they gave me full run of it. They said, "Let's call it Good Morning Society." I was like, "I love it. Let's do it. It fits perfectly." And we are coming up on our 100th episode real soon here over the
Nice.
last 2 years. So we're
Nice.
super excited.
Congratulations.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm super proud of it. I always say, and I do mean this sincerely, I'm so honored and privileged and fortunate to work with Jake, Beck, and the entire crew. They're like seriously some of the most talented people I've ever met, but also some of the kindest people I've met, because this industry is great. I love the board game industry. There are a couple of bad apples, but they don't. Thankfully, they don't ruin the bunch. I've met good people in this industry. I mean, I was again, like I was saying earlier, I'd worked in the aerospace industry. I've done stuff with different startups and everything, and there's good people everywhere. But I feel like in the gaming industry itself, we all tend to root for each other because we're all nerds together,
Yeah.
right? Like we just want to play games.
Absolutely. Man, that is no truer words have been spoken. So, your content, everything you've done has just been so positive. It has been very intentional, very inclusive. What were some early challenges that you faced when building your presence in the community?
Earliest challenges. Well, the first just going back to that first appearance on Game the Game, I'd never done anything like that, so I didn't know what to expect, but thankfully, Becca and the entire crew was they were very accommodating and was like, "Hey, no need to be nervous. We're just gonna mic you up, do all this, and then you're just gonna play the game." I was like, "Okay, cool." And after I'd done that, I think I got over it was just that one time, like they put me at such ease, and I just felt like, "Hey, I can do this." I may not do it as well as Becca, who was amazing, but at least I can hang out and be on the same stage as her, the same set. And I understand imposter syndrome. A lot of content creators talk about that, and we all go through it. Thankfully, I've been able to get past it for the most part. You still it's an ongoing journey, right? Oh, I've done this, but I haven't done that. And I always remind myself, don't worry about the things you haven't done. Just continue moving forward, doing the work. And I credit the work ethic to my parents, of course. I saw them, my mom and dad, they raised three boys. They were immigrants to this country from the Philippines. And to raise three boys in America, it's a totally different world, right? And me and my brothers, we were good kids for the most part, but you put three boys in the household, you know how it goes.
Yes.
There can
Yes,
be some
indeed.
challenges. So other challenges, I think it was just getting over that hump. I was confident I could write, and I was able to
Sure.
write. And I'm not, not to be cocky or arrogant, but I'd been writing for a living. I mean,
Right.
I went to school for it. I went to
Yep.
UC Santa Barbara, go Gauchos, for my English degree, and then I went into technical writing. So I knew I could write, but then
Yes.
to transfer those skills into either a podcast or a video or a live stream, that's where I'm like, ugh, this is new to me. But I I realized I felt comfortable with it. And once I felt comfortable with it, it made other things easier. There's still things that challenge me to this day, whether it's creating videos or live streams or whatever, but just take it a day at a time. I mean, it's so cliche, right? I mean, a new day, new challenge, or new opportunity.
Writing is such a solitary thing, right? It's you with your ideas, your thoughts on paper, right? Or computer nowadays. Although I still like to write everything out longhand on paper
Same.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
I have a post-it and pen. I don't know if it, it's like I keep
Yep.
that around everywhere I go.
I take notes during the podcast. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Nice.
absolutely. But then I could see putting your face, like, being in front of the camera, right? So for me, when we started the podcast, we all know this, right? We hate the sound of our voice,
Mhm. Yep.
right?
Yep.
But I would always intentionally listen to the podcast once it went live so that I could get the listener experience, right? What does it sound like to them? It's the only way I can get better, right?
Right.
Now I'm over it. Yeah, you know?
I love that you did that though. That's I'm sure we'll talk about tips and tricks to the trade, but the fact that you went back and listened to it and you took notes on yourself, that is super important, right? I mean, I don't like the sound of my voice either. I don't like watching stuff I've done, but at the same time, I made myself do it so I can say, hey, next time this or that, right? Or I can improve on this, or hey, that was actually sort of cool. That worked. Remember that for next time, that type of thing.
Yeah. So thinking back to your early days as a creator, was there ever a moment that didn't go as planned and it ended up teaching you something, either about yourself or about the process?
The very first live stream I did with Michelle, I'd done video work with Good Time, or I mean, Geek and Sundry. I had done some live streams with Renegade Game Studios right before the pandemic started. Pandemic hits, all the studios closed down. We're at home, right? And I asked Michelle, I was like, we're stuck at home the last couple of days. She's not going to work. I'm not going anywhere. Why don't we live stream something on Facebook, a game? Okay, cool.
Nice.
Yeah. And I learned right away, wow, this is harder than it looks. Like PJ, I was spoiled. I would just showed up to studios. They did all the mics, the cameras,
Sure.
everything. Like,
Yep.
this is going to be easy. I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. OBS, what's that? What? Mics? So I learned a ton. And it's one of those things where I look back and, we had just talked about looking back and, going over things. And it's good for me to remember where we came from, right? I
Yes.
literally, the first stream I did was on an old laptop, and Michelle and I were just talking to the laptop. I was like, oh, we should get a mic. So I ordered a cheap mic on Amazon, hooked that up. Well, I want to have like a top-down camera so I could show the game. I use my phone. I put it on a like a tripod type thing. I literally duct taped some stuff together, and I didn't have a cord long enough so that it could charge. So there was early on in the streams, there was a running joke that, well, let's see how long we can play a game until that top down camera dies. So we became hashtag Team Dead Camera. So that was a running bit for a while.
Back in the early days where something didn't go as planned
Yeah.
and it ended up teaching you something either about yourself or the process.
Yeah. And that's it exactly. I learned everything at that point. And I think this ties in neatly to, again, I'm going to jump ahead here a little bit, advice for folks who want to get into content creation, especially on the video side. I started with an old laptop, like a $50 mic off Amazon, and my cell phone. That's it. So I spent $50 and we launched it on Facebook Live. That got us through to Twitch like a month later, switch over to Twitch, et cetera, et cetera. So what I tell anyone that's interested in content is like, hey, this looks like fun. I tell them my number one bit of advice, do not spend a penny. Use what you have. If you like it, go live.
I've already broken that rule.
Oh, okay, cool.
I've already broken that.
Well, again, everyone has their journey. But you can, do it your way. But the thing is, I don't think you need to spend thousands of dollars. Like, let me get the best camera. Let me get the best mics. Let me get this setup. Like, I didn't even have like studio lights at the time. It was literally just, this is my studio now is our old guest bedroom. So use what you have and I've seen this happen to folks. They spend a ton of money and then they realize, I don't like this. I don't want to live stream. I don't want to do this or that. Now you have thousands of dollars of stuff that I don't like to waste money. So I hate to see folks waste money like that. If you do enjoy it, which is most of the folks I know, they do enjoy it. You'll find a way to level up your equipment as you go. today I want some new lights. I want better lighting, so I'm going to buy studio lights. I can get a camera, like a decent camera, to do top down. I don't have to duct tape my phone anymore. You will find the way. So I that's something I tell every would be content creators, folks new in the space. Use what you have, and then see if you really like the process, because it is a process. You know this as much as anyone. It can be a lot of work. It's time
Yes.
consuming, and I don't like to see folks waste money. So,
Yep.
and if
Yep.
you do enjoy it, you will find a way to make it happen.
So I'll tell you a quick story. My violation of your rule. So when we first started, when Gareth and I first started the podcast, we were just using our cell phones. But I went out and got a big fancy condenser mic.
Okay.
Now, trying to plug that into your iPhone, I need an adapter for that.
Yep.
Okay. Right. So it's like, and we were just audio, right? There was
Yeah.
no video. We didn't have a YouTube channel. So we did grow into it, like you had just said, but I kind of jumped the gun, got the big
Yeah.
fancy mic, and then it was like, but I didn't have headphones. And I learned about echo and echo cancellation.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
big one. That's a big one. So if you go back and look at probably the first 25, 30 episodes of the podcast, there's echoing. It's like Gareth and I trying to figure this thing out. I mean, it was just a mess. And then eventually I got, I mean, my studio is still subpar, but you know,
But
it's
you're you're on your journey. You will continue to build. I look at it like this. I think you knew right away, like, okay, podcasting is for me.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, you got the good mic, and you're still using it, I'm assuming, right? To this
I
day.
am. It's the same one from
That's
Amazon.
awesome. Yeah, that's great.
You know, I made the mistake of after I had Benzinator on the show last year, and I was like, "Hey, you have any suggestions for upgrading my stuff?" And then I go look at how much the stuff she recommended costs.
Yeah.
I'm like, "No."
Yeah. Yeah, she's got her equipment. She's on point
Yeah.
when it comes to her
Oh,
equipment.
yeah.
Yeah, she's great.
So can we talk about live streaming for a few minutes?
Hmm.
I have questions.
Yeah, happy to answer them. Yes.
Live streaming in general, not specific to Twitch, but okay if you want to talk about Twitch too. Of all the, so I mean, I do shorts, I do reels, I go on TikTok, I got my long form content on YouTube, but so I do all the things. I don't live stream, and I have to admit, it's the one thing that terrifies me. So, can you talk about live streaming, not just for me, but for anyone listening who might be thinking about it?
Yeah. Live streaming, it can be terrifying. And when I first did this in the pandemic here at home, thankfully I'd done some stuff with Renegade Game Studios to sort of put me at ease, like, okay, I know what to do. And also watching a lot of Twitch or YouTube lives as well. The hosts that you see, a lot of them, I feel like at least during the pandemic, it was more casual, and it wasn't as highly produced as other things I'd seen, like videos, right? Recorded videos. So the live streaming environment or the culture was super casual. And I think that plays a lot into the whole pandemic thing. Like, we're all
Yeah.
stuck at home together, folks. So we're just going to hang out for a couple hours. Like, it's super casual. And thankfully, when I asked Michelle to do it, she'd never done anything like this. I mean, she's a teacher by trade. So used to be in front of an audience. So, a much harsher audience sometimes with these kids, right?
Yes. Yes.
Right. But it was almost like we took the attitude of, hey, we want to go live to not only play games, right? We love games, but also to stay in touch with folks, whether it's friends or family, because we
Yep.
can't go to each other's houses. So I remember having friends just watching, like, and then word spread, like, hey, we're doing this we were at the time, we were doing every day, like at 5 o'clock. We called
Oh,
it
wow.
Live at 5, just as yeah, we did that for a month straight. And like after that, I was like, yeah, we're going to go to a weekly schedule now, then a bike weekly, which is fine. It was, it was just a thing to do to help everyone as a mental health check. Like, hey,
Sure.
how's everyone doing? We would do that for part of the show. It's like, just talk. Hopefully everyone's okay. Then we would play a game and just be super chatty. And that's probably what I'd advise people is, for live streaming, you do want to, you want to make, you want to put your best foot forward, of course, but at the same time, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Like there's a tendency, I think, for people to want things to go perfectly, but the best moments in live streaming are when things don't go perfectly,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Like there's like a running joke with live streamers. Like if your audio and video are perfect, like are you even live streaming? Like we we're known to like, okay, we're live. Oh, my mic is muted. Oh, my camera's not working. Oh, and people expect it now. Like you go on live, okay, cool. Yeah, well, and what's great, people in chat are always rooting, almost always rooting for you. Like they understand like this is not an easy thing to do. And like and I will always ask when I go live, can I get a microphone check? Can I get y'all can hear me, right? Okay, yay. Videos coming in, okay, great. So I keep that I've always kept that attitude as far as whenever I live stream something, it's like mistakes are going to happen. So be it. You'll be able to fix it. And if anything, it's going to create a funny bit. One thing I do, this is like what you like live stream is not natural, right? If you're especially I do a lot of solo live stream. It's not natural to look at a camera and
Yeah.
talk to someone as you're playing a game. So
No.
one bit of advice that I give everyone, and I do this, I've done this for years. I learned this from someone had said the camera that you have that you're looking into, put a face right there. So what I do, I put a picture of my nephew there,
Or
just like a face. So like I'm talking to like I'm not saying oh hi nephew or whatever, but it makes me more relaxed rather than looking at a like a camera. I'm looking at
yeah.
someone's face, and
Right.
that really changes the way you approach things and just the way your voice comes out and the way you're interacting. It really does feel like it's different than just staring right blankly into a camera. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. I never
Hmm.
use that.
Yeah,
I don't.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
That's
yeah.
fine.
I'm not a guy.
Riverside automates a lot of the editing tasks
Yes,
for me rather than me having to go and remove every pause or and auto. So I'm okay with that, but
same,
I
absolutely.
understand I understand the concerns about AI on a bigger
Yeah,
scale. Like
yeah,
I totally get that. So
agreed.
so let me ask you this because I think this is a good one. How do you balance staying authentic with all the pressures of staying consistent with creating content?
Wow, that's a great question. That's a really good question. I've never really I think from the get-go, PJ, I not that I made it a point to like, "Hey, I need to be authentic," right? I've always approached the work like this. I and you and listeners there, we love board games. I've always tried to approach it like it's all about the games. I want when I before I hit the live button, I always remember, I look at the table and it's like, "Oh, I can't wait to play this game." And I try to project that to the audience, to the viewers, or if I'm writing something, I want to share that joy. So I don't know if I guess that's authentic, right? I mean, it's a true love and a true passion for it. I don't think there's a way for me to really, quantify it or whatever. I don't have a checklist of, okay, remember to hit this and this, unless it's like I'm doing like a promotion or a paid thing where I need to hit certain points.
Sure.
But I'm still always going to approach it like I'm one of the luckiest people in the world to be doing this for a living, to create content. I mean, I always tell people when I'm me a new person, like they talk eventually talk about like asking, oh, what do you do for a living? It's like, I get to be a nerd for a living. This is the greatest thing in the world. I'm so fortunate to do this. And I think that's how I approach things. Like I'm very to use, you know, I'm very blessed to be doing
Right.
this. And I
Sure.
want yeah, and I do try to bring that to any a project that I do.
Yeah. I think that sometimes it's difficult. And certainly in conversations that I have with content creators, gamers, whatnot, it's like the big criticism is content creators putting content out there and it's like it's a show, right? And like I prefer this person because they're more authentic or,
Mhm.
whatnot. And
Yeah.
sometimes there's a lot of pressure to be like, you know, I think the beauty of this podcast is it's totally authentic. I rarely ever write questions ahead of time, except I did today.
Mhm.
But normally it's just like, I'm just going to chat with you. And the thing about my podcast versus others is it's rarely about the board game, it's
Mhm.
about the gamers, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
meeple to meeple, right? It's about us.
Yeah. And
Because,
that's
yeah,
I was just gonna say that's what drew me, like, when and we've been talking for months now trying to get, line this up, and that's what drew me immediately was like, "Hey, we're gonna have a conversation," right? It's not like, "Hey, Ruel, make sure to bring, these things that you wanna promote," and there's a time and place for that, right? But that's what I love about what you're doing is you're talking to folks, and this is like what if we were playing a game, this is how I would play a game, right? If we play the game, but oh, hey, PJ, tell me more about your podcast, or tell me what's going on in
yep,
your life, that type of thing. I know some
exactly.
people like to bury themselves in the game, which is fine, but
Yep,
I'm a little more social than that in real life. Like I want to know what's going on before we, go at each other's throats in this game, right?
right. So I am notorious for loving cooperative games, and it's fitting that Pandemic was the one you brought up in early in your journey. So I love cooperatives. The joke in my local game group is I will be playing a game that's competitive, and someone inevitably, there's PJ turning it into a cooperative game because I will find a way. And
Yeah.
I will notice that you're building this pyramid, or you're trying to expand to that hex or whatever, and I'm like,
Hmm.
how can I help Ruel do that? And I'm going to take an action, right? And I'm like, yeah, right,
Nice.
because I want to prop everyone up. Don't shine light
That's
on
great.
me, right? The only light that you could shine on me is that one right there. That's it. Yes. So I love cooperative games and I love to chat. I mean, the social engagement is really what drew me to the hobby in a very real way, right? It's part of the reason why I don't play solo games, with one exception. And here it comes, guys. That's Obsession by Dan Halligan, because Obsession
Nice.
is my favorite game in all the
Wow.
world.
Very cool. Confession, I've never played Obsession. I
Well, we
need to
need to
play it.
fix that. We got to
Yeah.
fix that because it's
Yeah.
good. It is so
That's what I
good.
hear. Yeah.
Yeah. And I pride myself on this is episode 170, and I think 168 episodes. Obsession has been mentioned in the conversation.
I
Yes.
love it. That's great.
So, yeah. So, let me ask you this. You've connected with so many creators and designers and publishers and producers and actors and everybody, some of whom you've mentioned already. Who's been the most rewarding relationship that you've built in this process?
I've been very
Now,
fortunate to meet a
now
lot of
I'm
folks.
sure all the relationships are rewarding, but
Yes.
is there
Yeah.
one that really stands out where you're like, you know what? This person has really made me a better da 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 da.
Yeah. Well, I've already talked about Becca and Jake from Good Time Society, but the one I need to talk about is Rado, Richard Ham. He does Rado Runs Through. Early on, when I had just started streaming with Michelle, Richard reached out to me. I was like, whoa, I've watched Rado for years. He had sent me an email, said, hey, I love what you're doing. Maybe we can work together. I was like, okay. And that shocked me, PJ. I was like, whoa. Yeah, I was like, that was my big like fanboy moments. Like
Uh
besides
huh.
meeting Beck, yeah, that was like my second big fanboy. I met Becca, fanboy. Meeting Rado, I was like, oh my gosh, dude, I've been watching you for, all these years. And he really liked, my style of engagement, et cetera, et cetera. And we were trying to find a way to bring him on the channel besides just straight run throughs. So we did a live show. We did the R&O show. We're at episode like 60 now or something like that. And the show's evolved. It used to just me and Richard, and now it's like me and a couple of co-hosts, um, Chris and Ray, and then we have guests, and then Richard will participate with his video work. But I have to mention Richard because he did so many things for me. He asked me to do a run through, and I recorded, I think it was like Ethnos or something. I did like a 2-player Ethnos all by myself, Rado style, right? Hey, here's me doing this. And then Michelle takes this move. He sent me a video critique. It was like a 15-minute video where he broke down my video. And Rado is great. He was just like, hey, don't take this personally. This is what you did wrong, 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 wrong. And it was just this laundry list of stuff. Like, I was like, dude, this is amazing. Like, he took the time out to
So
like,
good.
yeah, it was like
Yeah.
all great critiques. And he comes from the video game world. He's worked on some big video games back in the day. And the number one thing I remember, I mean, he taught me a lot. First, the technical stuff like how to use OBS, certain lighting, cameras, etc. But then the way to approach run through videos. I still do a lot of things that he taught me years ago. And the number one thing is storytelling. When you go to the table, you're telling a story, whether it's through the board game or whatever. And he always wants that to translate to his channel. Like, hey, tell me a story. No, it's not just moving a red piece to the yellow space or whatever, or I'm just getting these cubes to, turn it into these cubes. No, you are trading. You are a merchant. You are an astronaut. You're flying into space. Yes, you're shooting the bad guys or whatever, but what are you doing? And I take that approach now, the solo streams that I do on my channel, or even anytime I'm doing video or live stream work with anyone else. It's like we're telling a story. We're not just pushing cubes or drawing cards. We are
Yeah.
telling a story. So that's the
Yes.
big thing that I learned from Richard, and I am so great. We still work together to this day. I'm still doing run through videos for him. We host the occasional R&R show, but he was instrumental in me becoming a better live streamer slash video producer. And I'll forever be grateful for all his critiques and input and just mentoring of me throughout the years.
Do you approach just in general, right? Now we're not even talking about content creation anymore. When you get to the table and you play a game, do you do that? Do you tell a story, whether during your turn or mentally in your head? Do you tell a story of why you took the action you took and so forth?
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
mentally in my head for sure,
Yeah.
definitely. And then out loud, a lot of times I do too. And I think that sort of play. And now that we're talking about this, PJ, I feel like that's part of the reason why I love doing it, because even when I was before becoming a content creator, I would still say, "Hey, my scientist is going over here to go to the research station in order to solve this, or cure this
Yes.
disease or whatever."
Yeah.
And I think that just lends itself to what I end up doing is I like to talk during games. Like I get there's some games, some, heavier Euro games where it's all just about, trying to map
Sure.
things out. But I'm more drawn to the story of it. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Who's going where? So yeah, I will always have that running narrative in my head. And sometimes it'll spill out when we're playing as friends.
So I'm going to sell obsession to you right now.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Give me the elevator pitch. Let's hear it.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So the beauty of the game and how we play it. So on your turn, you take one of the tiles in front of you, which is representing both a room and an activity in that room within your estate. So let's say it's afternoon tea on the gazebo, right? So you take that tile and you place it out, and you put your servant meeple out there as required by the tile, and then it has a requirement of guests, various levels, which represent cards in your hand, four of whom represent your family members. So what we like to do is the first time that we play these cards, we read the flavor text, right? So it
Mhm.
might be, let's say I'm the Cavendish estate. Well, Lord Cavendish is on his way to collect the rents. He's going to go have afternoon tea on the gazebo with Jane, of Derbyshire, and she really loves. And then we read the text and kind of let that story unfold and embrace the theme. So you should play Obsession, and it's perfect solo. So,
I mean, you sold me at perfect as solo. I
yeah,
love solo games, and I definitely prefer games in a social setting, but there's something about solo gaming to me that scratches the itch of like doing a jigsaw puzzle. It's just something to relax and not stress about stuff. And like, and that's why I love solo gaming. It's just a time for me to like,
sure.
yeah, I don't need to worry about other people's turns, or if I'm taking too long or whatever. I can leave it set up if I want all night.
Yeah.
Eshin, I think the block for me, the reason why I didn't get in that game was I wasn't really in the theme, right? I just
Hmm.
assumed it was like Pride and Prejudice, which is not really my jam.
So it's Pride and Prejudice meets Jane Austen meets
Mhm,
Downton Abbey.
mhm,
And you're right. On the surface, it's not the most appealing theme for a Western American
mhm.
male kind of mindset. But when you play this game, all of a sudden you're like, whoa, it just transports you to another world.
Yeah,
And it's fantastic. And it's worthy. Yeah.
I need to play. I know it's on
Yeah.
BGA, Board Game Arena,
It
so
is.
I'm
It
going
is.
to be, yeah. I think
The
he's
beauty
told
of
me
the
that.
solo mode is you take your action. So there's a whole deck of solo cards, solitaire cards, and
Mm,
it's essentially your opponent, which basically says you have to meet this score to beat them.
okay,
And that's it. And then when you take your turn, you roll a d20, and that card will tell you on whatever the result is, it just does the thing and you move on. So there's not a lot of
nice.
administrative work
Yeah,
at
that's
play.
that's my favorite type of solo
Yeah.
game is just give me an automa deck, let me
Yep.
do the thing and make it quick.
Yeah.
That's okay. I'm gonna
It's
have to
you're gonna
play
have
that.
to.
Yeah, I have to play that.
Yeah. You're
I'm
gonna
gonna
have
play
to.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
too many
I
people told me that they love this game, right? And
come
yeah,
on.
you're
Get
right.
on
What am
it.
I doing?
I feel like Ruel and Michelle have to come stay with us for like a week and play at my
Play
table.
Yeah. Gosh, I would
So
love that.
here, I'll tell you, I'll entice you just a little bit more. There are
Okay.
two requirements when you come stay with me. One is that obviously you play games at my table and you let me cook for you.
Oh, what? Okay. You had
Boom.
me there. I mean, that's not only am I a gamer, but I'm a foodie. Michelle and I, we love playing games. We love a bunch of things, but our passions are playing. Well, my passion is playing board games. I don't think Michelle, she's not quite at my level, but she loves games too. But we both have a passion for food and
Oh, yeah.
cooking, and
Mhm.
yeah. TJ,
Yes.
what's your go-to dish to make?
So quite often I make so
Yeah,
I like to make a gumbo the weekend after Thanksgiving. I take what's left over from the turkey and I use
nice.
andouille sausage that either my sister or my stepmother have shipped to me as a holiday gift from
Yes.
Louisiana. Because that was the thing is moving to central Illinois, it kind of forced me to reconnect with my culinary heritage. Whereas
Okay.
when I was growing up in Baton Rouge, I never cooked. Mom and dad, grandma did that. Now it's up to me because if I don't, I'll never get
Right.
it.
Wow. We are. I love that you use the turkey leftovers
Hmm.
for this dish because every year I'm the guy that ends up with the turkey carcass because I make a
Huh?
soup, I make a
Yes.
stock. We put the stock in the freezer to use
Yes.
during the year. Oh my gosh.
We keep leeks in the freezer so that we can add it to the
Ah,
carcass to make the broth for yeah.
there. Oh yeah. Okay, I'm
Um
booking a flight right now. We're coming
yeah.
over.
Yeah. So the beauty is I'm a 3-hour drive from Indianapolis. So what you do is you come stay the week before Gen Con and then
Ooh,
drive on over.
my goodness. I think plans are being made, folks.
Yes. Yes. So here's my I think it's my last question. I say it's my last one and then I'll come up with another one.
Oh yeah.
If your journey from 2015 to now, your journey in the board game hobby were a board game, what would it be called and what mechanics would it implement?
Wow. Well, mechanics, this is my favorite board game mechanic. I mean, I think this applies here is worker placement,
Okay.
because doing the work. I'm setting, I love to have a lot of workers. And
Yes.
as we've talked about, I have my, fingers in a lot of different pies here. So I'm setting all my workers out. The game name, ooh, that's a good one.
Oh
So
yeah.
for many years, my favorite game of all time was Twilight Imperium, like
Okay.
my all time favorite. I
Sure.
loved it. But as I got older, I don't have the stamina, I guess, or just I don't want to sit there for 8 to 12 hours playing a board game
Right.
anymore
I
because
get
it's
that.
yeah, and again, I still love it. It's still some of the best experience I've ever had, but realistically now just with how busy I am and just life in general, I don't think I'm going to get it to the table anytime soon. And I feel like that applies to my journey a little bit.
Okay.
It's been it's this big epic thing. I'm doing worker placement because placing a bunch of workers, but with Twilight Imperium, if you play, there's a bunch of different factions, and you can play as different factions. And I feel like I've played in my board gaming journey, especially my professional journey. I've worn a lot of different hats. I still wear a lot of different hats, but each one is very different than each other. Like all the different factions, of Twilight Imperium. My favorite, of course, is Universities of Jolnar, Go Space Nerds.
Okay.
And I feel like that applies a little bit. It's been epic. It's been a long journey, right?
Huh?
So it's got to be some kind of a take on Twilight Imperium. Maybe
What
it's
about what about I'm just thinking here, I'm
yeah.
spitballing, but
Let's
I'm
spitball
listening to
together.
you,
Yeah,
and I'm thinking that the title of the game, The Factions of Gaviola.
I like it. I like it. Yeah, the
A worker
manufacturer.
placement game with stunning components, and
I love when you go into your sales pitch voice. I'm totally there. I'm totally there.
like, I now wanna play this game, and I don't know
Yeah,
what it looks like, but it's gonna be great.
yeah. Like I'm backing this game. Get me the deluxeified edition.
Yes.
Yeah, ship it
Yes.
now.
Metal coins, gotta have
Yeah.
it. So it's really interesting. I had Jackie Fox on
Okay.
several months
Yeah,
ago.
that's right.
We talked about Rock Hard, 1977. That might be my favorite worker placement because what I love about that game is that it marries theme and mechanics beautifully. And
Yes.
it coincides with the storytelling aspect you were just talking about because you only have one worker
Yeah.
and that worker is you.
Yep.
Right? So naturally, I'm like, I tell the story, right? It's like, okay, well, I wake up in the morning and I go to, and whatever that action is, and I hire Tom to be my first roadie, right?
Hmm.
And then my turn's over and we wait and da da da. Yeah, like that was what came to my mind immediately when you were describing the factions of Gaviola is that it would be a single worker placement, right? Like that's how I envisioned it.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah,
can. That's. I think that's a good comparison. Good analogy. Jackie Fox is great, by the way. She's so amazing.
amazing.
Like, yeah, her
Yes.
story is yeah. Folks, if you haven't, go back to that episode. Listen to one with Jackie Fox. She's
Yes, do
yeah.
that. I need to remember all my episode numbers. I mean, this is episode 170. You would think I could rem
107. That's tough to track, man. That's a lot of episodes.
I know, so many. So yeah, and you know what? That is in fact my last question. Yeah, um,
Cool.
I'm good. So, is there any more advice that you would give to anyone that maybe we haven't covered yet? Was there something that you were really hoping to share and we just didn't get to it?
Yeah. I think one thing I would like to say, and I think this goes to advice for folks that are in the board game industry, but also I guess applies in general life. But keep yourself open to opportunities. I've been very fortunate, but I know I've also kept myself open to opportunities. Like if people ask me, hey, what about this? Like I remember my going to at Geek and Sundry, they'd asked me, "Hey, do you want to be on the show?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course." Like it wasn't something I've done before, but I was like, "Why not? Why? I can play games, right? But I've not done it on camera, but that's new. I'm learning a new skill here."
Yeah.
And recently, a couple of like I think 2 years ago, when the opportunity for me and Michelle to become part of the ownership group of Play Dizzy Games, I've never even come close to owning part of a board game company. What the heck? And Michelle and I, we ran the numbers. Can we afford this? Yeah, we can afford this. And okay, let's do it. And that was an opportunity that was presented to me by this group of investors. Like I've known most of them through, our contact in the board game industry. But again, if I hadn't kept ourselves open to it, I never would have had
Yeah.
that chance. So in board gaming, just keep yourself open. But I think in life in general, I like to okay, I'm gonna tie this back around to food somehow. I am a foodie, PJ, as you are, and I love going out. I love eating new things. Like Michelle and I, pre-pandemic, and we're just starting to do this again. We used to go to different. We're in Southern California, not in Los Angeles proper. We're about an hour outside of LA. We would take the train into LA and
Okay.
explore different neighborhoods,
Yeah.
specific neighborhoods. We would track it down. Okay, this like this one neighborhood, Boyle Heights. A lot of Latino food, Mexican food. And then we'd go to a different part of LA, Little Tokyo. We had the Japanese food, or,
Mhm.
Chinatown or whatever. We kept ourselves open because we didn't, we know, oh, yeah, I like Japanese food, but we didn't know all the different types of Japanese food, all the different dishes. So you keep yourself open to that. It's like all of a sudden, it's like, oh, yeah, we now love this, and that, which we had never had before. Yeah. Keep yourself open, folks, whether it's gaming or life. I think that's my little bit of advice for y'all.
That's awesome. And by the way, that'll be the upcoming expansion to Factions of Gaviola. It's gonna be the districts of Gaviola where you go and explore the different districts of the capital of
Yeah.
the Gaviola
Yeah.
empire.
And we have to have a feeding phase. You're gonna have to feed your workers.
That's right. That's right. Do we though? Do we really need I hate feeding phases.
Well, that's the next expansion then. A PJ's Gumbo Emporium. We're gonna go to PJ's Gumbo Emporium. That'll take care of you.
I have thought about opening a food truck in Central Illinois and just be like, "Yeah, make
Really?
gumbo." Yeah, make gumbo, and
Yeah.
when you run out, you run out, right? Because that's how you
Yeah.
but, it's one of those things. It's like, yeah.
Yeah. I'm I'm so hungry right now. I'm not gonna lie. That sounds so good. And I don't think there's any good gumbo near me. I need to fly out to you, man, get some
You
gumbo.
you you do, you do. I can make jambalaya, I can make alligator creole, I can make,
Nice.
fish courtbouillon. There's a really good seafood market here in town that sells really high quality seafood that allows me to make some of this. And unfortunately, alligator meat is a challenge. I gotta get that from my family. They gotta ship it up to me. But
How's
otherwise,
how is it like cooking alligator meat? Is it leaner or is it fattier?
it's leaner.
Okay.
It cooks much like fish,
Okay.
but texturally more like chicken.
Yeah. I've had
Yeah.
alligator one time in my life. To me, it tasted like chicken.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Nice.
so there you go, guys. If you come to stay with me, which by the way, you just got to play games at my table and let me cook for you. And there you go. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. I'm going to ask you one more question.
Yes.
It's tied to our conversation before recording. Do you right now have a favorite gaming convention that you really enjoy and look forward?
Yeah.
Because this is up for debate right now. Because before the recording, you and I were talking about all the
Yeah.
conventions.
Yeah. So I have 2 that I can
Yep.
share. So professionally,
I knew you were going to say two. By the way,
you gotta bring a little extra to the
exactly.
proceedings here. I've got 2. So the first one, and we did talk about this before started recording, is Gamma Expo.
Yes.
I think professionally, if you're in the industry or if you're even thinking about getting in the industry, I think it's a must, mainly because it's a B2B, business to business. It is not a public convention. So I find it easier to have meetings with folks and just having more productive meetings, I think is the way to say it. Whereas I used to do a lot of meetings at Gen Con and it was always the same thing. It's like you're in the middle of the floor, it's loud, and you shout at each other for like 5 minutes and then agree to like, okay, we'll continue this conversation on email or whatever, which is fine. But I think well, I know at Gamma Expo, I've had way more productive meetings as far as like, setting up things, booking gigs or whatever right then and there, because we're there to conduct business. Now, as a civilian, my favorite, it's brand new, and I just love the vibe of LFG Con, which is looking for gamer con. I think that's what they call it. I think LFG is something else, but I don't think that's what it means. But it's in LA. They just launched it in Los Angeles. The first one was last year. Now,
Okay.
in LA, there's a thing called Strategic Con. It's a 3
Mhm.
times a year convention, which is great. It's been going on for like 25 years. I enjoy the people at Strategic Con. I don't like the convention area itself. It's the
Okay.
LAX Hilton, which is an old hotel. Parking's terrible, et cetera, et cetera. But the
Yeah.
people are great. But I think LFG Con has the potential to be like my new all-time favorite because, well, number one, I'm close to it. It's only like an hour and a half
Sure.
away. Yeah,
Absolutely.
but I think it has the potential to grow into something really special. It's run by a couple of game store owners, and they just captured the vibe right. It's more laid back than other conventions. It's definitely gaming first, and then like a very small vendor hall and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that one I'm rooting for. They're going to be doing their second year this year. Now, one that's more established. I said 2. I'm going to talk about the third now. The one I now,
I'll allow it.
thank you. The one I really enjoyed for a while, but I felt like maybe it's getting too big for me personally, was PAX Unplugged in Philadelphia. Number one, and PJ, you'll appreciate this. The reason why I love PAX Unplugged, they're right across from the Reading Terminal Market, one of the best foodie halls I've ever been to.
Right?
It's so good.
Yeah.
So much great
Yep.
food, and that's a big draw for me, right? I haven't been to Dice Tower West in a couple of years, but they're in Vegas. Vegas is such a great foodie town as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And LFG Con in LA, LA's got some great food.
Just
I
true.
should just say, if you got good food, that's the convention I like.
So, Origins Game Fair in Columbus, Ohio, right? Most people are like Columbus. All right, Columbus, my second favorite city in the United States. All right.
Nice.
You can
Okay.
eat so well. And the Columbus Convention Center is like, it's not right across the street, but just a block from the North Market,
Okay.
which has got some
Yeah.
amazing food. And
Yeah.
I think that's why Origins is really climbing in terms of my wife and I's love for this convention, and it has supplanted Gen Con. Indianapolis is there. It's, I mean, they got food, but it ain't,
Yeah.
it's just,
They
it's,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, we're on the same
that's
wavelength.
all I'm going to say.
Yep, we're on the same wavelength. I haven't been to Origins yet. It's one I've
You should,
for whatever
you
it's
should.
just never worked out schedule-wise, but yeah, everyone talks about that food hall, man, and
It's
I need
so
to
good.
go.
It is
You know,
so
one
good.
I know, this wasn't on our, like, little semi-prepared list of questions here. Can I comment one more thing here, PJ? I know we're running out of
No,
time.
no, you can't. You
Can't do
can't.
it. Okay, we'll
No,
save it
of
for next
course.
time.
No. Go ahead. What you got?
You know how you said you talked about obsession in 168 of the 170 episodes. I need to bring up one thing that I bring up I almost on everything I do. My favorite baseball team is the Los Angeles Dodgers. They are the two-time defending world champions of baseball. That's all I'm going to say. But I'm going to tie it into board games here. The conventions I also like to do. Number one, you have to have good food. But the ones I really appreciate is that if there's a minor league baseball team around, I will go to your convention. I've literally gone to conventions just because of their minor league baseball team around town.
Well, I'm going to entice you to come stay with me because there's a minor league baseball team
Yes.
here in Springfield. I don't I don't
What team
watch
is it?
baseball at all.
Springfield?
I don't know. You'd have to
Okay.
look it up
Yeah.
because I don't do. So the problem is not much baseball in Louisiana. Growing up,
Okay. Yeah.
obviously LSU, go Tigers.
Yep.
Uh, they did really well growing up,
Yep.
but
Yeah.
didn't really watch much baseball. So it's really interesting for me living in this alley between two behemoths of the Cardinals of St. Louis and the Cubs or
And the
White Sox
Cubbies.
of
Yeah.
Chicago, right? It's like,
Right.
and I'm kind of in the middle going, y'all are, what's going on? Yeah.
I'm going to sell you on baseball real quick here, PJ. So
You're going to have a
baseball,
hard time. I'm
no,
just warning you.
yeah. So we all know it's a slower game, but it's like going to a park, right? You go to spend the day at the park because what do you do at a park? You eat and you have your meal. It's like, oh yeah, there's a baseball game going on, but one of the best sports to just chill and not know anything about the sport and just hang out with your friends. If you partake of adult beverages, you can do that. But there's tons of food and there's plenty of opportunity to play games as well. So I'll always have like a small
Okay.
pocket game, whether it's like a button
Sure.
shy or whatever.
Sure.
And we did this final story, hopefully. We did this at Gen Con a couple of years ago. Indianapolis Convention Center is literally catty corner to the Indianapolis Indians, the minor league
Yes.
baseball team.
Yes.
And they have a fantastic stadium. It's a
Mhm.
smaller stadium, but it's the same architect that did Camden Yards, the Baltimore Orioles stadium. So it looks like a mini Camden Yards. We brought people there. The brothers Murph and I, we did this event where we got members of our communities together to watch a baseball game. And a few of those people, our friends Amy and Maggie from Thinker Themer, they're from Australia. They're not really baseball fans, but we had a great time with them. And again, it was all about the food, the camaraderie, and I love it because it's the only sport I know that does this random weird thing to this day called the seventh inning stretch. Like, just like all of a sudden in the middle game, let's all just stand up and sing a song, like take me out the ballgame. What sport does that? That's what makes it so great. It's so random.
So does that mean if I come to your house, we have to do a seventh round stretch?
Yeah,
Every game
we're
that reaches the seventh round, we have to
yeah,
stand up and sing a song?
we're standing up and saying, "Take me out to the ball game." Yeah,
Okay, man. Ruel, you are such a delight. Thank you so much for coming on. I've
TJ,
enjoyed
thank
this
you.
so much.
Yeah, likewise, my friend. I am happy to do this. Whenever you ask again, I will be here. Thanks, for all the great conversation, man. And
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
do hope that we can get together, play some games, and have a meal
Yes,
together.
I hope so too. Absolutely. Tell everyone where they can find you on all the social fun things.
Yeah, on social media, friends. So you can find me at Ruel Gaviola, RuelGaviola. You can also find me with Gaming with Ruel on Instagram specifically. But for the most part, go to my link tree. That'll find all the links where you can find me on the Good Time Society Ronald runs through, Play Disney games, etc., etc. And PJ, thank you again for having me. I appreciate it, my friend.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Guys, as always, thanks for watching. And remember, be kind to each other. And let's play more games.